How's it going, everyone? As you may know, what I'm standing right here is a vacant building. So, and yeah, well, a little about this vacant building that I'm standing by. This used to be the cider mill house, and it later on became Snap Fitness until it moved right by in the Acme strip mall. I mean, right where Acme is. So, in case you don't know what this is a vacant building, and also back when I was a lot younger, it used to be called the Cedar Mill House or the Cider Mill House. And in case and right over there, they used to have a place where you used to rent VHS tapes and video games back in the day. So where you used to rent VHS tapes, and you can even rent video games here. And back then, when I used to rent VHS tapes back when I went here, and even I also rented Super Nintendo games. Because, you know, back when I was really little, I started playing Super Nintendo. And since then, the Super Nintendo has been one of my favorite gaming systems of all time. And if I remember correctly, I think I used to rent Sega Genesis games here too, but mostly Super Nintendo. So, yeah, well, the games I used to rent here are mostly Super Nintendo games. And I think they had NES games back then as well, like Super Mario Brothers 2. And back then, I had a little buffalo sauce on my chin, on my lip, on the side of my lip, because I was eating my lunch because, you know, all that hard work just made me starve. So, yeah, I had a little buffalo sauce. So, this used to be the Cider Mill House, and it later became, I think it used to become a therapy place, and later Snap Fitness, before Snap Fitness moved over to where Acme is. Well, few blocks away from Acme. So, and I used to, I used to come here usually with my mom and dad, and I used to rent Super Nintendo games here. So, and if I remember correctly, I think I used to rent Sega Genesis games as well, because even though I didn't have a Sega Genesis until I think the following year, because even though it was originally my cousin's, but he gave it to me. Yeah, he gave me his Sega Genesis. And, oh, yeah, I think I used to rent Sega Genesis games here. Oh, Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Mostly Super Nintendo. And they even had NES games here like Mario 2. Yeah, like Super Mario Brothers 2. But back then I couldn't rent any games on the NES because a year prior to coming here to rent my Super Nintendo games, my NES broke down. And I was just not happy when my NES broke down. So, and I wish I still had my NES with me. But I play them on emulators nowadays in the NES Classic Edition. So, and that place right there used to have VHS rentals and video game rentals too. Mostly Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Oh, and also NES. So, oh, and also, yeah, well, and I think they had some snacks there, like popcorn and candy. So, all right, so we'll see you all next time. And I just gave you a little tour. I mean, a little tour of where I'm standing, because that's the place where I used to rent video games here for the first time. Well, mostly for Super Nintendo. So, see you all next time.